I'm Jeff Carter, and I am privileged to be sitting and talking with Christina Hutt this afternoon. How are you doing, Christine?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to talk about the very first time I met you. It was at the Third Friday Coffee House in Berks Falls. Now, I don't remember how many years ago it was,
I
but
think it was probably 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of you before, and I don't think you've ever had been performing at the Third Friday before that.
No, that was my first time.
And I've got to say that, the very first time I heard you and saw you perform, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up when you sang that Mirror, Mirror song.
Wow.
And of course, I had to come up and introduce myself right away.
You did.
And find out who you were.
Yeah.
And so how did you get there if that was the first time that you'd been performing? Were you performing elsewhere before this?
No, it's always been a passion of mine, and I did a lot of performing when I was younger, but I really suppressed it, and I got a full-time job and a boyfriend, and I really suppressed my music for several years, but I ended up going to a music workshop in Guelph and was really, really inspired to start performing again. And I heard about the coffee house, and it really took a lot of courage to get up there, but I was really glad that I did. That's what started me moving forward again with it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now, after you finished performing at the coffee house, what did you think about the reaction to your performance?
Well, being approached by a radio station and asked to be interviewed was something I was not expecting. So I was over the moon. There's nothing better than doing what you love and then people appreciating it and encouraging it. So it was a great, great memory.
So it wasn't long after that you actually performed here at Hunters Bay Radio?
Yeah.
That's right on this very stage that we're talking on.
Yeah. And I think Grant and John A. McDonald were interviewing me, I think. Yeah.
That was for Talent on the Bay?
I think so. Yeah.
Long time ago now,
Long
right?
time ago, yeah.
Lots of things have happened. And, since that time, you've sort of spread your wings a bit. So let's talk about some of the music that you've performed since then. You've got like a number of songs under your belt. How many of them did you write, and how many of those did you cover?
Well, since then I've recorded an EP, so there's 5 songs on that, but I have a handful more original tunes. I do quite a few covers, which I really love to put my own spin on cover songs. I've toured coast to coast on the Via Rail. I've performed at the Algonquin Theatre, which was always a dream of mine. So not only have I performed there once, I've had my own show on the stage. And
you've been at Trinity a couple of times.
Been at Trinity, yeah, with James Gray. And I've really collaborated and formed some really good music friendships here, which was something that I really, really wanted to do.
So when you want to cover a song, how do you determine what's suitable and what sort of fits your style? And how do you make it your own song?
Of course, it just has to move me. Anything that moves me, I want to play it. And I don't really try to put my own spin on it. It's how I interpret it. And it's just how it comes out. And sometimes it's not always the same.
But when you go looking for a song, where do you go? Because you're not doing the latest, I'm going to say Pink song or Rihanna or something like that. There's a certain genre that draws you to it. And why is that?
My parents listened to a lot of classic music when I was younger, growing up. So I grew up listening to a lot of Etta James and Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan and Neil Young. And I was always really drawn to the soul, like anything with soul. So, I mean, I don't consider just blues or soul. Like, I mean, there could be country songs that are just have the soul in it. So I think that's the older stuff, the real raw, I've heard some newer songs too that have it. So, but yeah, I guess maybe I'm an old soul.
Okay. Now, you talked about going out east That's the first time, trekking as a musician yourself?
Just in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was tough. There were some tough times, only because there was a lot that I realized I didn't know and I needed to learn immediately, which was getting to and from places and making sure I was eating enough and drinking enough water but it was a beautiful experience to be around different people and to be and literally moving at the same time and then getting there. And I had some gigs while I was there, and it was really when I got home that I really did a lot of the creative side started to kind of come out, and I looked from the outside in and from the inside out. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm really glad that I did it.
Okay, so is that something you'd like to do more of in the future?
Yes, but I would love to do it with somebody else.
Okay, so is it sort of a thing where you'd like to, say, do a little bit of what James Gray is doing? He goes out, I've got to say probably he is the most traveled musician in Muskoka, and he's, I'll say quite honestly, he's not afraid to go out there and explore. He's been all over the world, all over Europe, down in Australia, New Zealand, all through the country here, and maybe even down in the States. So he's gone a long way. Mm-hmm. Is that something you see in your future, or do you find yourself more grounded and wanting to sort of stay close to home and venture out on occasion?
No, the sky's the limit for me. Yeah. I'm really, like I mentioned, would like to have a partner, a music partner, another maybe guitar player, somebody that sings harmony, somebody to create with, somebody to share the road with. But yeah, I'm very open to more travel and seeing the world, playing music, seeing the world.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
So what do you think is next for Christina Hutt?
I think I'm going to be in the city a little bit more in Toronto. I just did a show at the Cameron House for Sad Mondays with John Brooks, and Sean Cotton backed me up. And so I've been talking to John already today about going back in March and possibly doing some music with John. So he's very enthusiastic about getting me into the city a lot more, and so I think that I see myself, some festivals, some more gigs coming up in the future, and I'm going to be opening for Paul Reddick in Toronto on Saturday, which is another great musician that has supported me. So I just I think more recording. Mm-hmm. I'd like to record.
So is another album or an EP
there's
in the works?
Yeah, there's definitely some singles in the works, but definitely another album for sure. I think I would see it in the next 6 months or a year.
Okay, well, we look forward to hearing more from you, and we're thrilled that you're having the success that you are having. We sort of think that maybe we might have had a little bit to do with it.
Oh my God, you did!
And
yes.
It's thrilling for us to see musicians that live among us that are quite honestly world class. So congrats to you, and
thank you.
Good luck, and remember where you got your start.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
And that's been Christina Hutt. I'm Jeff Carter.